Birds of Prey, issue 20, Legacy number 218, Kelly Thompson writing with SAMI BASRI on the art. So, start of a new arc here, because we just had like a two-parter on this book for the last couple issues. And it kind of kicks off with not a lot of context for what's going on, but Batgirl, meaning Cass, is kind of surveying somewhere, a crime scene. There's cop cars down below. It's a silent few pages of her just sort of, looking down. The art's really nice here. And getting into the crime scene, and there's a fun little reveal here as she's talking to Oracle and explaining some of the things she's seeing, that the crime scene looks staged. There's another speech bubble, and then the next page reveals that Batman's also there. He's shown up. And there's kind of a nice little thing here where Batman just kind of says, hey, is this related to the robbery at the military black site, the experimental drug that was stolen? And Cass says yes. And Batman says, are you seeing stuff that you need to see here? And she says yes. And he's like, okay, fine. This is the Birds of Prey's crime scene. Just keep me in the loop, and leaves. And it was just a nice little thing of like, okay, you know what? It just shows how much he trusts Babs and the team to like take care of their own cases. He's like, you know what, I want to, tell me what's going on with it and keep me in the loop. But like, yeah, okay, this is yours. Like, I don't need to get involved with this. Yeah. I've got the joke. I've got the joke it go beat up for the 50 millionth time.
Yeah. He's got 15 other things going on right now. He goes, this is one less I have to deal with. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was just a nice way of showing like kind of giving the Birds of Prey a level of sort of respect, I guess, in the hierarchy, which is nice. So. And one of the things I love about this book is that fun banter, and it's like, Babs is staring at her computer screen, monologuing to herself about how like all these clues are like really confusing and like hard to deal with, and then like it just cuts to a panel of the team, like the entire team and their civvies just looking at her going, we're just standing here watching you, right? Like what what are we doing
in the middle of the night? Like give us something to do.
Dear. So yeah, basically it's like, hey, all these clues lead to different things, different locations, and it's probably some kind of trap. But we have to find out where this drug went and who's behind it. So we're going to have to go and split up, and everyone gets sent on their own little missions. So basically there's 3 teams that are well, I say teams. It's basically 2 individuals and 1 pair get sent off in different missions.
Because Canary's on hers, Porta's on hers, and then they send Cass and Sin, right?
Yes.
To handle that one.
So yeah, they send Barda to somewhere, not Dubai.
No, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE,
but not Dubai.
She wants to bring her bikini. And like, that's not going to be allowed there. Which makes for a running joke throughout.
Yeah, Bab says that she can. And there's a running thing here as they're getting their orders where Dinah keeps saying positive things about making stuff fun, and Babs keeps sort of like just axing it down immediately, saying, no, you can't make this fun for this reason. You can't do that for this reason. So they're all kind of bantering about how they're getting mixed signals from the 2 of them. But yeah, so she's sent there. Black Canary's sent to Tokyo because there's like a technology show where some of this stolen tech might get shown, so she's going there for that. And then Cass and Sin are sticking around in Gotham to check out something. So yeah, so we get Dinah in Tokyo, right? And she's all dressed up for this fancy gala kind of thing. She has to use her powers to break into the door. Barda's one's quite interesting because she goes to this weird town, and it's like mostly fake. She realizes it's kind of just a ruse, except one building which is real. There's like the one tall skyscraper that's real, and everything else is fake. And she knocks some stuff down and kind of comments on it a little bit. It turns out it is a trap though, because she boom tubes to the penthouse and ends up trapped in like the elevator, or the room becomes like a box. And she's like, what, you think you can keep me locked up in here? And then the box launches into space. So whoever planned this basically prepared this for Barda specifically to launch her into space. Specifically without the ability to boom tube back, because her mother box thing's stolen.
Her stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has her club that she uses. And also, this character that came out looks like Ink from Batman Beyond. There was that shape-shifting character that was kind of... It wasn't really Terry's Catwoman, but she had a lot of the same stuff. She was a thief. She would infiltrate corporate
Yeah,
stuff.
I would have never. My mind would have never went there. So
Well, I love Batman Beyond more than the average person.
Yeah, I didn't know who this was. I just assumed it was either someone new or some deep pull that I didn't get. But yeah, this character comes out like kind of like a like you say, not a mist per se, but like a really sort of focused like gas of some kind and kind of forms. And,
it's almost like a living shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely very much Ink from Batman Beyond.
Okay.
I just pulled it up, and same hairstyle, same coloring, and everything. So that makes me curious of what's at play here, right? But so she gets the Barda's thing, and then it sends it off into space, and now Barda's in space trying to call Oracle, which I thought was another fun moment.
Yeah, it sends Barda. Doesn't send Barda's thing into space. She's still got that.
No.
Sends the room that Barda's in. It's actually secretly a rocket. So she's in space and she's trying to communicate with Oracle, and it's not going very well. Honestly, I don't think this Ink character though is the person behind all this. If I was to make a guess right now, I think there's like an evil Birds of Prey. I think this is like one of like a team that are attacking the Birds of Prey would be my guess.
Yeah. Because when we get to the end, and we'll talk about the other stuff, but the last thing is it says, 1 down, 4 to go. And there's a panel of them at that fashion show when they introduced Vixen at the start of that arc, which was...
Yes.
Is that the second big arc?
That was the second arc, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely has ties back to that, which I definitely, remember that arc also started because someone... What was the one character's name? The time traveler girl, and they went through the portals. Babs is responsible for the death of their mom, right? And that's why they were trying to kill Babs. So I'm wondering if this ties that back together, and this is part of that plot. Because as far as I know, if this is Ink from Batman Beyond, that's someone from the multiverse, right? Unless Kelly Thompson's just going to make Ink part of the modern DC continuity.
Yeah, this could just be like Ink in the regular continuity. I mean...
Right.
There's no reason why it couldn't be that.
But it tells me there's something screwier going on. I would definitely guess. So, but we also get Canary.
Hold on, Matt. Didn't we deal with the whole someone trying to kill Babs from the future thing? Wasn't that wrapped up by the end of that arc?
Yes, but you'd have to assume that storyline is still in play, that the mom is still going to do something, right? Because we dealt with the daughters getting revenge on Babs. Right, but what if there's still the thing that's in play that Babs is responsible for, and maybe this is part of that with whoever that villain was. You know what I mean?
Not really,
because there's still that villain.
What villain?
So I forget her name, but she was the one. She ends up being the mom that has the kids that goes to the portal. Right. She's in theory she's still in play.
Well, yeah, but
so what if this is the start of what adds to Babs being responsible for the death?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because there was no...
But the reason why I'm confused, though, is why would she be traveling back through time trying to get revenge for her own death? She's dead.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is this... the Ink thing is... That's one thing and the other. I'm just saying, what if this is that plot coming back around? You know what I mean?
I'm not convinced it is. I can see what you're saying. You're saying this is going to build up to whatever started that in the first place.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think we're doing that. I think we're building like a new villain team here of some kind, and I would guess that all of this team are women, and the idea is that they're an evil version of the Birds of Prey. That would be my guess right now. But the first one we've got to see is this Ink character. And also Barda, she realizes that on the little space shuttle she's in, there's a bomb. So the cliffhanger is that exploding and like Oracle screaming down the comms, Barda's down. So now obviously I think Barda's okay, but we'll see how that goes.
She's still a new god, She's gonna be very angry though when she lands on Earth from space. I'll tell you that much.
But also notably, that little panel at the end where someone ominous who's behind all this is saying 1 down, 4 to go. That lettering and speech bubble is definitely very specific. Like it looks. I don't want to say it's robotic, but it does certainly look like it's coming from a computer or someone maybe through a voice like tech of some kind.
There was an anti-Oracle in the Batgirl's book, right?
I mean, there was. Matt, I think you're a little obsessed sometimes with trying to tie things back to other things that I don't think are ever going to be important
again. Because that was the last time I remember seeing this type of font. Remember when they were going after the Batgirls and Babs was trying to figure out who was doing stuff? The font was very similar to this.
I'll take your word for it. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if that's
I was trying to remember if that was something that I read or if that was something that I imagined. So...
Like, once in a while, you're definitely right about things, but I do think you jump to, like, weird connections sometimes. I'm just pointing it out because I think it might be a hint of what type of character it is, or at the very least, it suggests that it is, like you say, some sort of anti-Oracle, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to be that one from Batgirls. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe Kelly Thompson's decided that she can do some stuff with that, but... yeah, but it would definitely suggest that her rival, like that there is someone who is also with computers in the same way that Babs works with computers, would be my guess. As for the other characters, we have Cass and Sin chasing someone fishy down into the sewer system. They don't really get much further than that. There is a nice moment between them, though, which I liked, where Sin's kind of talking about, oh, she's new to this, and, you know, like, you get saddled with me and whatnot. And Cass says, no, you're pretty great. Like, you know, like, and we're kind of similar. You know, we're both made to be weapons, and we can choose to be better than that because we're more than that. And Sin hugs her from behind, and Cass, like, you know, the art's really good here because the art really shows that Cass is surprised by the hug and doesn't know how to take it. What I liked about this, though, other than that being very sweet, is the idea that Cass is so often the little sister character to a lot of the others in, like, the Bat family. Even Steph, who technically came later, I don't know if she's technically meant to be younger or not, but that still feels like Steph's the big sister because Steph is more confident and she's more used to the regular world and, like, treats Cass like a little sister. There was something really nice here.
World experience.
There's something really nice here about the idea that Cass actually has this unique experience where she gets to be the experienced one of the pair and gets to sort of give advice and let her know something's okay, or give her this, like, you know, sense of camaraderie or confidence from being able to say, hey, it's okay, I went through some of this stuff too, you'll be okay. I don't know, it was really interesting seeing Cass be on that side of that conversation for once, when Cass is usually the one who is the younger sister or the more innocent one or the more, you know, naive one that's being kind of helped or aided. So no, I really like that little moment. That stuck out to me more than the actual plot thing, really. And then Dinah is just seeing this tech being shown off, and they're showing what seems to be a very, very convincing camouflage technology where the guy just looks invisible after the fact. So I'm sure someone's going to appear out of nowhere later on. Like, one of the villains is no doubt using this tech, and that's going to be a big moment in a later issue. I would hasten to guess. You know, I like this quite a lot, actually, this issue. I think what I liked about it is that so much of early Birds of Prey is very much just Babs and Dinah. Babs is at the computer, Dinah's the secret agent doing the action stuff. I kind of like that the team all split up into their own versions of that. And we got just a little bit of that sort of sprinkled through all the characters. I think that felt like a really cool throwback to what Birds of Prey started off as. And I'm intrigued by whoever this group of villains is. And, or at the very least, who the one main villain is that's doing all this. But I kind of suspect there might be a team vibe to it, because I'm expecting like an anti-Birds of Prey.
It's definitely like that, because this feels all very deliberate to split them up, right?
Yes.
Because they talk about the clues being like, it almost feels like a trap.
Yeah, and plus, like, they specifically knew that Barda would go to the one that was designed to take care of Barda, right? So there's definitely some skill there. And you know what, if it is that character from Batgirls that does end up showing up as the anti-Oracle, I will say that, like, I'm not that excited inherently about that character, but I'm excited for Kelly Thompson, like, making her a bigger deal by actually having her own Birds of Prey to fight against the main team. But I don't know who that could be. It could be anyone, really. I wonder who they'll pull on for that. But now this is cool, because I think, like, the personal relationships are good here, and they always are. And there's some great moments with Sin and Batgirl, or the banter when they're getting the mission and all that. And even that scene with Batman at the start, I really like. But what I dig about this is that I really kind of also like the plot a lot of this issue, and I'm excited about what we're building to with whoever these villains are. which is maybe an extra flavor that I don't necessarily focus on as much with Birds of Prey, because it's how good the characters are together and like the way they deal with the problems together that I enjoy. It's this the back and forth, the team dynamic that I like. So,
Yeah.
but so far this seems very promising, also in a plot perspective, which is cool.
Yeah, and it fits in with that Kelly Thompson vibe of all of that, right? Like this is up there with like West Coast Avengers and Hawkeye, and where it's these characters that you know, like we care about these characters for the most part, but seeing them interact in the way that they do, it makes them much more charming. You know, unlike Barda, this book has made me absolutely love Barda. So seeing all that and the whole, you know, I just should have brought my bikini anyways. Who cares? There's nobody here. You know, Barda does what Barda wants, and then that ends up getting her shot into space. And just the way that all played out, it was very comical. And I love Kelly Thompson for that.
Yeah, and I think having Sin paired with another character is a really good thing for Sin, because I think having Sin bounce off the others, and you know, it's one thing giving her time one-on-one with Dinah because it's Dinah's sister, but I think like having her team up with Cass for a bit does a lot for me to like really get attached to Sin, because Sin's kind of like the, you know, the relative new character that I don't really have any attachment to versus everyone else. So you know, Barda, at least we had that great Tom King Mr. Miracle book that really made me fall for Barda, so she's really kind of rising up there. And then Cass and Dinah and Babs I've just liked for, you know, forever. So Sin's the one that kind of you have to get me attached to from scratch pretty much, even though she's not a completely new creation, obviously. And I think doing scenes like that with Cass is a big way to go, I think. So
the thing that I didn't realize too is how similar Cass's past and Sin's past are. Right? How they're just kind of, they feel like they were not meant to be weapons, but they weren't treated properly, you know? And then so just pairing them together, and it almost shows Sin like there is a way out, and you're in full control of it, because that's what, you know, Cass has gone through. And then, you know, Cass has the people that the reason she was able to get out is because of the support structure, and this reinforces that.
Yeah, so. I guess going back to what I was saying earlier, like Cass basically found role models in Batman and other Bat family members, and I don't think Cass has quite comprehended the idea that she can be a role model for Sin, but that's effectively what she's becoming, and that's sweet. So, all right, what are you giving Birds of Prey?
I'm gonna give this a. Did we really talk about the art with Basri, which is pretty solid?
I thought about it a little bit. It's good. Yeah, the art's good.
I would say I'll give this an 8.5.
You know, I think I'm at the 8.5. I think this is probably the highest I'm going so far this week.